Thanks for keeping it tuned to your Love Music, Love Live station, Smooth 98.1. It is 16 minutes past 8 a.m. on a hump of the week, Wednesday morning, December 11, 2024. We are in the locker room on the Smooth Breakfast. Yes, we get to talk about all the sporting news making the rounds. And of course, that have been happening in the last couple of days, hours, or thereabouts. My name is Ayokunmi. Great to have you join us on this ride because it's going to be a bumper packed one. Champions League games yesterday, more coming today. So much to talk about, so much to look forward to as well. And of course, I don't do this alone because the one, the only, you know her, you love her as well. Tega is in on a Wednesday morning. Good morning to you, Tega.
Good morning. Oh my goodness, I'm still just coming out of the euphoria of yesterday's Champions League matches. They're saying, oh, we have not scored many goals. I was like, the goals we scored is okay because they were all fantastic. I mean, and even the timing. I'm just watching Aston Villa's highlights against Leipzig, and that third goal that they scored, brilliant, brilliant. All right, so we'll talk about the Champions League from last night, and then we'll touch on the Champions League tonight. A lot of injuries,
Hmm.
to the extent that Barcelona is now going to play. Is going to put in a player that I didn't even know had come back to Barcelona. That's how.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So remember, Araujo went left the club on loan. He's back in Barcelona now.
Interesting.
As soon as he was fit, they just threw. They're thinking of throwing him on the pitch. That's how dire their situation is. So we'll talk about Barcelona. We'll talk about the Arsenal match. Um, we'll touch a little bit on Pep Guardiola saying that when I leave Manchester City, I'm not going to I'm not going to go and coach another club. I was like, which other club is there to coach? Real Madrid doesn't want you. He only coaches certain clubs that can guarantee certain results. so, we'll touch a little bit on that, all that and more on the show this morning. But before we do any of that talking, Ayokunmi, tell us, how can we be a part of the locker room?
All right, you can join us on the locker room this morning. In fact, we love it when you join us every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can do that in multiple ways. First of all, WhatsApp is right there for you to send your thoughts in to us. The number is 0809 444 0981. The studio line, if and when we decide to open it, the number hasn't changed as well. It is 0201 4489981. We're also streaming on YouTube. You can catch us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. And drop your comments there as well. And we look forward to hearing your thoughts, interesting thoughts on the interesting stories we'll be talking about this morning. We'll be starting in the Premier League this morning, Tega, where Premier League official David Coote has been sacked by the referees body, the PGMOL, following a thorough investigation into his conduct. I mean, I don't know anyone who did not see this coming.
Look, when they were saying that they are worried about also his welfare, this kind of information coming out about a referee and everything coming out at once, it can make somebody lose their minds. I understood that. I was like, yeah, you're going to worry about his welfare, but can you get his pension package ready? Because there's no way that the association could have put him back on the pitch. It's not just the um, fact that people suspected that betting scandal where he said, no, his friend said he would give a yellow card to a particular player, and the next day in that match, he showed a yellow card to that player. Now, the player may have really committed a yellow card offense, but because of the prior conversation a day
Mm,
before, it's already indicative of or is alluding to some betting scandal. That was not all. Then there were the drugs and the partying. You can argue that, oh, on the day he may not have taken drugs, but you cannot say how many parties, how much drugs were in the system, and what was influencing it. You cannot say. So forget the Jurgen Klopp insult can be tolerated, but the drugs, the partying, the alleged betting scandal, all of that, no referee that's supposed to be unbiased, objective, and making major judgment calls at the center of a football match can bounce
Right.
back from that. So he was always going to be sacked. The question was how. And so they didn't need a thorough investigation. All they needed to just do is look at the 1+1, whether it's equal 22 or 11 was of no consequences. That the fact that it was pointing to something else meant that they couldn't work with him anymore. So yeah, David Coote is gone. They said they're still going to continue looking out for his welfare and all of that. But hey, the fact is, one referee less, he's lost his job.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, this is a lesson to everyone out there. I mean, people have their different thought processes and things they believe, and they choose to say for whatever reason. But people need to be careful when and where they make these statements and all that. You never ever can tell who is listening and how that particular thing is going to come back to you at the end of the day.
Yeah, but I mean, truth be told, if it were only that, I think what it was that his how do we say it in Africa? His copper was full. because because at some point I started to wonder, who did David Coot offend that everything is coming out one after the other at this time. So it is, it's not just a question of be careful what you say or where you say it or who you say it to. It's a question of just conduct yourself better. How are you planning a party at halftime? That means you're not
Hmm.
focused. Think about it. He was not focused on the match. He was at halftime. He was like, when is the booze coming? When are the drugs coming? At halftime, Oga.
No time to waste time.
No times when he was not focused on the game. So it was. I think it was all of those because you could make a claim for Jurgen Klopp that he was just offended and he was having fun with his friends. Um, you couldn't make much of a claim for the yellow card, even if you watched the match and you saw the yellow card offense. But the partying was just a lot. There was that. There was the one on the UEFA Champions League. There was the drugs. That you are not bouncing back from that. End of discussion. Game over.
End of discussion. EOD. All right. End of that discussion. Let's jump into the Champions League, where so much happened last night. We're talking about Liverpool, first of all, with their goalkeeper, Alisson, saw plenty of action on his return from injury in the Champions League win at Girona on Tuesday. And manager Arne Slot was full of praise for the Brazilian, who played a big role in maintaining their perfect record.
Yeah, so and a slot Alisson with about 5 saves in that match to keep Liverpool in it. And then when Liverpool had the opportunity with the penalty, they scored it. And the slot can complain that, he was not happy with the performance, but you can't play high intensity for 9 months in a season. It's not possible. He should
Mm-mm.
calm down. There are some games they are going to manage and just get the result. There is no way you can consistently play at a high level from August to May. And you have to remember there are multiple competitions, top of the
Oh,
Premier
yes.
League table, top of the Champions League table. Uh-uh. How? So yes, he was not happy over the weekend. He said he felt like they struggled to the result. Then he was not happy with this one because he felt like the performance was not great. But first of all, they traveled to Girona, and yes, Girona of this season may not be the same Girona of last season, but it doesn't
Mm,
make them any easier to beat.
of course.
So you're still going to struggle even if you're going to win them. And they came away with all 3 points at the end of the day. Some matches are going to be like that. Nobody is excellent every single day, every single time. So I think he needs to calm down with that. But yes, Allison was in goal to do what he was supposed to do. People are talking about how will Allison come back in with the way Kelleher has been performing brilliantly. But Allison came back and showed two birds can fly in the sky without touching each other. The
Oh,
sky is
yes.
that big. The
Mm.
sky is that big.
The
So
sky is the
you
sky is
shine.
definitely that big. Oh,
Exactly. You shine your shine, I will shine my shine. It's that simple. And so Allison came in, made a couple of brilliant saves, which was what was needed for Liverpool. And then they scored their goal and they're back at the top. The thing about Arne Slot is that he's beating all expectations. I don't think anybody saw him coming. and now it may be a little too late because sometimes it takes the hard work to get you somewhere, and the rest of it is just reputation. So, because when people step on the pitch, they know you're hard to beat. It's already a psychological advantage to you.
Mm,
So,
mm, mm.
nobody saw you coming, and now it may be hard to knock them off their perch. But yeah, top of the Premier League, top of the Champions League. There's no
Mm.
place I'd rather be.
No place that any manager worth his salt would rather be. I know. Before we jump off,
Exactly.
just also mention this whole talk about Allison coming back and all that. I mean, how many clubs can boast of having a fantastic number one, and a number two can do a job when number one is not available? Not too many clubs can come
Now
out
we
and
don't
say,
even know
"Oh,
who is
we
number
have
one and number two.
that." maybe maybe it's one and 1.5 or something like that.
Do
I
you
don't even
understand?
know.
One and one.
That works as well. All right, let's talk about Arsenal. And Mikel Arteta has praised his team for how they have coped with a punishing defensive injury crisis as he prepares his men to face Monaco in the Champions League on Wednesday. It's going to be a
And
tough one.
Monaco can run riots. I know this is not the same Monaco. Remember when people thought Arsenal was going to go far and then they met Monaco? This may not be the same coach, may not be the same team, but it's still a tough Monaco that is coming out to play. It's still a tough Monaco that is coming out to face Arsenal. And yes, that defensive crisis is a problem for the Gunners because think about it, they are already struggling offensively and trying to create chances where they can score from open play. Because right now it seems their best threat, sorry, not that it seems, it's obvious their best threat comes from set pieces.
Mm,
And so they're trying to find a way where they are creative enough again, where they're scoring from open play and putting their opponents under pressure. But to be trying to put your opponents under pressure and then to have one hand tied behind your back because you're still also trying to cover up for many defensive lapses. Can make you a little bit can make it a little bit tough for you. So yes, Arsenal will be looking to play a little harder, especially against Monaco. I remember the way the log is. This league, UEFA Champions League, is becoming tougher than the previous group stage we had. So if you snooze, you can lose.
oh,
Think
yes.
about it. Inter Milan got their first loss of the Champions League, and they dropped to fourth. They've considered
Just
only
like that.
one goal, just like that. They dropped to fourth against Leverkusen yesterday. So it can come down to anything now because it's only the top eight that can qualify automatically. Everybody is struggling to do that, but there is not enough space at the top eight. So it's a tough one. Every point counts, every goal counts. And so Arsenal will be looking, I mean, especially with their defensive problem, will be looking to try and get some points. So if you're going to watch a match today, that should be one of the matches you keep an eye on because it'll be a tough one.
Definitely going to be a tough one, but exciting one nonetheless. Let's take a quick break right now. When we come back in, we'll talk about 15-time champions Real Madrid finally getting a win on the road in the Champions League this season. Don't go anywhere. Back in a bit. Woo. Okay.
Sorry. Are we good?
Yeah, well, all right. Uh, let me
Bele,
just
bele.
let me just get through the day.
Okay, yeah, your Lagos talks is right after this. So
Yeah.
is that intern helpful? Where is she?
She started a job in Lekki, but she helps me to do like grapevine and stuff behind the scenes, sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she didn't abandon me totally.
Has she graduated?
Yeah, she has. I think she said her convocation is it this week or next week or something, sir, or like that.
Oh, I should get her
Yeah.
number and her name. The job
Um,
in like is it full time?
I think so. It's an admin job in a school. Admin job in a school, yeah.
Ah,
So I don't know how long term it will be, but at least she's doing something and it's change will be entering her hand. at the same time. So at this at this point in time, you can't blame anybody. Everybody's everybody's trying to find out to make small
You have
change.
to find how to make small change.
That's
Okay,
it.
let's see how it goes.
So sometimes when she comes up, because she stays in trust. That redeemed opposite smooth.
Eh,
She's she stays there during the week. I think it's easier for her to go from here to the island, from here to Lekki than from Surulere.
yeah.
So sometimes when she comes back, she just enters the station to do some work for me.
Oh, okay, okay. I need to take her details. All right, let's go.
And we're back. It's still the locker room on the Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. You know, we love sports as well on a hump of the week Wednesday morning. Ayokunmi here, as well as Tega. We are taking a look at the sporting story, sporting action that has been making the rounds. And we're still in Champions League territory. Before we get back to that, though, just to remind you of how you can be a part of the conversation. WhatsApp, send your messages to us on 0809 440 981 0809 444 0981. We're also on YouTube streaming live at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. The studio line hasn't changed. It's 0201 4489 981. All right, as I mentioned, we're heading into that game between Atalanta and Real Madrid, who got their Champions League title defense back up and running on Tuesday after coming through a tough battle to win 3-2 at Atalanta. Take it.
Oh wow, tough battle it was. It took Mbappe scored, got injured. Vinicius Jr. just came back from injury, so they were still even managing him. He also scored, and then Jude Bellingham wrapped up. So they are big three, if I may use that term loosely. Um, got on the score sheet yesterday for Atalanta. I actually did think Real Madrid was going to come away with a loss because of the way Atalanta had played previously and what Real Madrid were suffering, but
Mm.
Real Madrid's big three um, came on the scene, scored the goal. Atalanta, on the other hand, had ample chance. Apart from the fact that Rudiger was bullying the Catalera, first of all, Rudiger needs to find his age mate. He was bullying that small boy from the minute the boy got on the pitch. As soon as the boy looked like he was going to be danger, Rudiger decided to discipline him and bullied the boy until Atalanta eventually got a penalty. The guy scored it, and that was when the guy gained his freedom. He wasn't bullied so much. But Atalanta had ample opportunity. The most remarkable of all, or the most memorable of all the penalty opportunities they got, was that last one in injury time where Ademola Lookman made the cross and what's his name now? Is it what's
Retegi.
his name now? Retegay um kicked it over the bar. All he needed to do, he didn't even need to, you know, control it, couch it, place it, just put his big toe out and the ball would have entered the back of the net. He decided to go with the inner side on the other side of the ball, and the ball went over the bar. But yes, Atalanta had ample opportunities to at least get away with a draw. They didn't. Real Madrid finally get their away win and revive their Champions League defense. Remember, top eight automatically qualify, but 9 to 24 will get into some kind of playoff to
Playoff,
make
yeah.
it through to the next round. And that's all Real Madrid need. All Real Madrid needs is to get in the playoffs. They will worry about the opponents when they get into the playoffs.
Get there first. Just get there first and
Let's
then
just
worry
get
about
there first.
any other thing after.
Exactly. So they have
This
revived their Champions League, and
uh,
that's great news for them.
indeed they have. And this, I mean, a lot of people had skepticism about this new format, but the way it's throwing up so many different surprises, it's a yo-yo kind of thing. You win, you
I'm
jump up
telling
the
you,
league. You lose,
think about it.
you fall down the league. Madrid
If
are
you
18th right now, and they're only
yes,
3 points away from the top eight.
yes, and then that's what I'm saying about every goal counts and every point counts because look, you will snooze, you lose. When Bayern was scoring 5 goals yesterday, someone was like, "It's only 3 points." I said, "Let them score," because What can put you in the playoffs where you get knocked out, and what can put you in the top 8 can be one goal.
Very,
And
very
then you
true.
get you get knocked out when somebody else has moved up. So it's tough. Brest are in fifth. Who would have expected in a league with Bayern, PSG, Real Madrid, that Brest to be the one in fifth? But there they are,
Crazy, crazy things are
sitting
happening, as
pretty.
Tem said.
I'm telling you, crazy things are happening. All right, let's go to the next story.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about Barcelona. Yes, their manager Hansi Flick has urged La Liga leaders Barcelona to get back to what makes us unstoppable. I'm quoting him verbatim here. Now, against Borussia Dortmund goalkeeper Inaki Pena, sorry, against Borussia Dortmund. That's according to goalkeeper Inaki Pena as he spoke to reporters on Tuesday. Going to be a tough one for Barcelona.
Very tough because I mean, even in recent weeks, remember the draw against Real Betis over the weekend. Again, it is that defense that keeps on giving. And it's not just the high line; it's the fact that their defenders are so easy to beat one on one. Earlier in the season, the focus was on the fact that they were scoring so many goals. And teams were trying to stop them from scoring so many goals. But now teams are like, you know what, score your own, me, I'll score my own. Let's see where to end. And that's where the problem has been right now for Barcelona is the fact that their defense is so porous. And that defensive problem doesn't start from the high line. It starts from the fact that the midfield does not have a solid spine. And so that's what they're going to be looking at. People talked about Frankie De Jong coming back, and maybe that will help. But Frankie De Jong, that is not really his role in any team. So Frankie De Jong cannot be the spine of your team, because he's very expressive and he's more lethal. Creating play as opposed to stopping play.
Mm.
He's not the best tackler you find on any football pitch. People were talking about Gavi and the way he gnaws at people. Yes, but Gavi is not disciplined enough to be a holding midfielder. He's at best. On the days he tries, he will be a box to box midfielder. But to stand there to hold the shape of a team, that's not Gavi's role. So they do not have that individual on their team to help, start with the defense from midfield. And that, for me, I think, is Hansi Flick's biggest problem, to find that guy. The problem is they can't even afford to buy the guy because at this point in time, they have to unregister one player to register a new player. So except they can find that guy from within the club, in their team B, it's not possible. And that's where their biggest problem is from. So today, he's saying, and they're playing a side like Borussia Dortmund that also likes to play open football, expansive football, and stretch teams defensively. And that will be the problem. Again, on counter attacks, Dortmund is a team that can catch any good defense unawares, not to talk of a vulnerable defense like Barcelona. So it's going to be interesting to see how they go from post to post. Again, if you're going to watch football with goals tonight, this will be one of the matches you should watch. Dortmund against Barcelona, because it will give goals.
Most definitely. And also, I will add that with Dortmund, you never know which side is going to turn up. So let
Yeah,
us
but
see.
I mean, when they see a defense like Barcelona's own, it's like Fufu to Adeyemi.
I see what you did there, Tega. All right, let's keep it moving. Talking Champions League football. Let's talk about Bayern Munich as their star player, or one of their star players, Michael Olise, netted a second half double as they came back from conceding an early goal to win 5-1 against Shakhtar Donetsk in the Champions League on Tuesday to earn their first away victory in this season's competition.
Yes, you see what I was talking about. When you look at the league and you're wondering why a team like Bayern Munich is where they are, but especially with the game they played yesterday, 5 goals, and I think of all the 5 goals, in fact, the 5 goals were brilliant. Musiala scored one very disrespectful goal. 1 minute he was sitting on the floor, um, looking like he was done for the match. They should substitute him. Then he saw the ball coming and miracle healing. He stood up, collected the pass, dribbled somebody, not by moving his feet, but just by moving his shoulder. the guy sat on his butt and then
Mm.
he scored the goal. Very disrespectful. We thought we had seen the best of disrespectful goals until Olise got the ball and literally walked the ball into the back of the net, dropping several defenders on the way. So when you watch that Bayern Munich, you're like, how are they struggling in other matches? And I'll tell you why. It's simple. Vital Company has still not learned how to manage games. He may be a football manager and he knows how to get the best out of his team scoring goals, but he needs to manage the games. There are some minutes where you are not playing high intensity football, you are not attacking, your team is not with the ball, but you should be able to manage those moments where you are not conceding goals in the moments where you are not with the ball. And that's what Vice Company needs to learn. But Bayern Munich scored 5 goals yesterday. Like I said, every goal counts, every point counts. So they got their first away win. They got 5 goals. It helped them to get back, get revive their Champions League hopes. But if you're looking at a knockout game, their
Mm.
style of
Mm. Mm.
football
Mm.
is not the one that you expect to win a knockout game. But hey, it's football and anything can happen.
Anything can definitely happen. All right, let's quickly talk about. Well, I mean, this is I don't know if this should be construed as good news, but let's take it anyways. It's about Eduardo Bove. He's had a defibrillator fitted after his on-pitch cardiac arrest earlier this month. Italian media have reported on Tuesday.
Yeah, and the first good news, he's out of ICU. Second good news, he has a defibrillator. The bad news is that in Italy, in the Italian Serie A, they don't let footballers um, play with all those kind of aids. So that's the biggest thing. There's some other leagues in Europe, in England, you can play with that. Spain, in the Dutch league, in the French league, but in Italy, they are particular that you
Mm.
don't play with any kind of heart monitor, any kind of equipment put in your body. And that is a huge problem. I would have thought that over the years, they would have progressed into understanding that these kind of things happen. But till tomorrow, they haven't changed. From the time of Kanu Wanko till today,
All those years
they
ago.
still, do you understand? All those years ago, they still haven't changed. With the fact that they can see now that these things are happening to players day in, day out. They're like, nope, we are not moving forward. So it's something that the Italian Syria needs to look at. I thought that after the, what's his name now, Ericsson incident, that they were going to become a little wiser because Ericsson incident was, I think, like the third in line after Fabrice Muanza that this kind of thing happened to a footballer on the pitch. I thought
Mm.
that the Italian Serie would have, looked at the situation, revisited the situation, understood medically what it meant, and then changed the rules. But because they've still not changed the rules, um, I don't think the player can continue participating in the Serie A. He now has to look for a club that will take him with his condition anywhere else in Europe. Tough one. So it's good
Mm.
news that he's okay, but it's not so good news because of the league he plays in.
Mm. Well, whatever it is that he chooses to do, how it turns out, we wish him the very best for the future. Let's do messages as we get ready to head out of the locker room this morning. Taya says, Coote's nose, mouth, and behavior cost him a lot now. Now his eyes are seeing premium shaggy. Alison Becker, return of the Mac. If he's not happy, then what should Arteta, Pep, and Amorim from what should Arteta, Pep, and Amorim from their standing? I'm not sure what you meant there, Tyre. Real Madrid won, but Lookman was the man of the match. How does he do it? Players' health is important, and I think I understand Syria's decision. Well, I guess. AY for Miniru says Atalanta were unlucky last night against Madrid. Unfortunate loss for the Italian team. They could
Yeah,
they could have easily won that game if they were clinical enough with their numerous chances. And Ademola Lookman
exactly.
was absolutely brilliant last night. African
And that's
Player
why he was man
of the
of the
Year.
match. Yeah,
Mm,
that's
which,
why he was man. He was on the losing side, but everybody on the technical committee was like, that guy was the guy that played brilliantly. So yeah, I
right.
understand it
Uh,
completely.
Nathan from Kirikiri Town says, I'm one of those that have been truly impressed by Arne Slot. The arrogance of 2019 season is back, becoming down first. He further says, Ademola Lookman is definitely winning the African Best Award, no doubt for this year. I'm already looking into next year's own between him and Mo Salah. Let him win this one first now. I start talking about
Let him win
next
this
year.
one first, but that one with
Eh,
Musala will be hard because
I
Musala is
know,
like
right?
even on a bad day for Liverpool, it's a great day for Musala. A good
Indeed.
day for Liverpool is a good day for Musala. A bad day is a good day for Musala. And
Uh,
then the only thing that can change, the only thing that can stop it, or that could have stopped it, would have been the AFCON that they are
right,
going to
right, right.
play. Yeah, that are going to play in December. So the only thing you can pray for is that Egypt does not do well in AFCON.
Right. Obabumi Onolakpo says Liverpool have been efficient. Congratulations to them. Vinicius has returned. Expect an improved Real Madrid. So how come Bellingham is now scoring again? Will Man City survive with this current form at the old lady of draws? You just wonder. And on YouTube, Uche Nwokoye says, wonderful goal by Olise. Boy is a huge talent. The UCL is shaping up. Can't wait for the games today. And LK Aderoba says, Prime Stoke City FC plays today. We are ready to cook if they draw or lose. Oh my goodness. And on that note, we need to call it a morning on the locker room. Thank you all for the message. And of course, Tega, thank you so much. Tega, are you there? Yeah, muted, Tega.
Oh, thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. And for you people that are calling us now Stoke City, you may not make heaven if you don't stop. All right. On that note, have a great week. We'll come back here again on Friday.
All righty. Looking forward to it. And thank